Welcome to Straight Talk for Entrepreneurs, where we reveal what it really takes to build a successful business. Whether you are starting with an idea or growing your business, this is the show for you. My guests and I will show you how to build a strong mindset, a powerful body, a profitable business. Hi, I'm Brandon C. White, and this is Build a Business Success Secrets. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Build a Business. We are here with Kadin Zimmerman, who has taken a fun thing that he started working on the internet and eBay and turned it into an awesome side hustle. Kadin, we've been working together. How long? Has it been a year? I feel like most of it's my fault that
we're coming up on a year.
Yeah, we've been working together a year. We found each other. I found Kadin online. I was looking for an outsourced CTO for all of the stuff that I do, which is a bunch of websites and my Brandon C. White and my Build a Business. And I know enough to be dangerous, and Kadin keeps me out of trouble and actually does the hard work on the back end. So without him, we wouldn't even be where we are right now, which was we are at the Build a Business podcast and all the website and everything running behind it. I regularly screw things up and hit Kadin on our Slack channel, and he always comes in to save the day. So I'm grateful for that. But aside from the side hustle of the outsourced CTO work that Kadin does, the story is really cool because I didn't know this. One night we were talking and I was like, hey, what is this thing you're doing with your app? You control this or that? And he told me the story. So this is going to be awesome. I'm really excited. Thanks so much. I know it's late your time. I know you're a night owl,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we got that. So can you just take the audience through, like, from all the way in the beginning? You're in high school and you decide to sell things on eBay. Like, how does that even start?
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I've always kind of been a jack of all trades. It started in high school, and so really I've always been an eBayer. I like finding good deals on eBay, so that's kind of where it started. But I got a new phone in high school, and I needed a phone case. And so I turned to eBay, got, a cheap phone case, and I kind of had been watching some, and I was just seeing how they were just flying off the shelf. And I just kind of thought, like, if I could, spend a few hundred of my extra dollars and buy some phone cases and turn around and double my money on eBay, I figured I'd give it a try. And so I did. I actually imported some phones.
And how did you do that? Like, what grade are you in?
I was probably about I was actually probably about a freshman or sophomore in high school. No older than a sophomore in high school, but probably a freshman.
And you go, so where do you go to find these phone cases?
I just honestly, I didn't know. I've never, imported anything. So I just started searching, like, online B2B or online overseas sellers that sell these, and stumbled upon Alibaba, which at the time I didn't realize how big it was. Now it's grown to be one of the biggest online outsourcing websites. But at the time, I don't think it was as big as it is now. But I didn't know the credibility of it. I just kind of went there because that's where I saw a lot of sellers on there, and I imported 30 phone cases. That was my first order, was 30 phone cases.
And how did that go? Was it smooth? Did they send you a sample, or you just trusted them and rolled with it?
Well, they treated the order as a sample because most people are buying more than just 30. I mean, 30 is a very minuscule order, but to me, it was my money that I had earned, and I'm spending it, not knowing if I'm actually going to get something or get ripped off. And so it was actually treated as a test order. And so, I sold all 30 cases in 24 hours. And
oh my God.
I more than doubled my money.
Were you shocked?
Yeah, I was very shocked. I had a friend in high school, and he's still a good friend of mine. And I told him what I was doing, and he was like, well, let me know how it goes. And I went in if this goes well. And I texted him that night and I said, dude, they're all gone. And he couldn't believe it.
So did you do an auction, or did you do buy it now?
No,
Do you remember?
It was all buy it now. Yep.
And you just priced it and that was it?
Yep. Hmm.
So what? Yeah. So now you got all this money. What do you do next?
So I bought more. I ended up
What?
buying all throughout high school. I bought phone cases, more phone cases, and sold them. And throughout the entire high school, I made several $1,000s just doing phone cases.
So your summer job was a lot sweeter than some of these other suckers who were out there mowing lawns.
Which I was still I grew up in the country, so I actually had a summer job as well. I worked for a farmer, and so I was still working 8 or 10 hours a day with a local farmer, and just doing this on the side. So it's always been a side thing for me to just try to get more money, more residual income. Um, it's just been a side thing that I've enjoyed doing.
And you were, well, while you were out there working on the farm, which I can relate, having grown up on a farm, baling hay or doing whatever else you were doing,
Yep.
that thing's making money for you whole time.
Yep. Yeah, I would have my phone on loud, and I would just hear dings all throughout the day, and there's $30, there's $30, and it was a lot of fun. My friend and I, we had a fun time doing it.
So what did you stop or did you transition or like why aren't you selling phone cases today?
Yeah. So my when I went to college, things kind of slowed down. I got busy doing a lot of schoolwork. I majored in engineering, so I had a lot of work that I had to do, and so that kind of slowed it down. Um, my eBay account, I got it up to a top-rated seller account on eBay, and so that's part of why I was selling a lot of phone cases, was because I was showing up on the very first page of eBay, and so I was getting a lot of sales through that. So when I stopped selling, my account dropped down. I wasn't a top-rated seller anymore, so I didn't have that badge anymore.
So is that talk, can you tell me more about that? Is that because you were prompting the people to leave reviews or was it because the eBay algorithm saw that you were moving?
Yeah, so the eBay algorithm had a certain criteria where if your sales were so many over like a several month period or a year period, and your feedback was so high, if you met these criteria, you'd become what's called a top rated seller, and you'd have like a little badge or some kind of like a ribbon on your listing. And so you would appear, top rated sellers would appear higher up.
And do you think that's still the case today?
Um, I still sell just very minimal on eBay now because of all the other things that we'll talk about that I've gotten involved in. I think they still have a concept of that, but it's been quite a while.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that algorithm. And I sell occasionally on eBay, and my stuff sells, but it's usually trying to liquidate something. I haven't done the retail thing. I think. Tell me what you think. I think people have forgotten the power of eBay, and everybody's moved over into the Amazon selling, which I think is, and I know we're going to talk about because you do that now, is really important. But don't you think there's still a real opportunity on eBay to move things? I mean, people are still going there.
Yeah, there is. It's a little different marketplace than Amazon, but it's still very much a very powerful marketplace that I definitely don't think should be forgotten about.
Yeah, and so yeah, if you're listening out there, don't forget about eBay. In fact, when everyone runs to another place, I think that's the time you go back in there because the market is still checking that stuff out. I mean, there's certain things that I still go to eBay for that I don't go to
Yeah,
Amazon, right? So I buy a lot of jeans, actually, believe it or not, off of eBay. I don't know why, but you can get like these $300 jeans for $70, and they're not fake or they're partially worn like crazy. Anyway, so tell us what happens next in Kadin's journey here, going from eBay seller, selling phone cases of all things, killing it, go to college. You tell me you were studying. I actually think you were distracted by girls and partying, but that's a joke. Kadin's a pretty straight guy, but maybe a little bit. So what happens next?
yeah. So one thing I forgot to mention was that in high school, with the friend that I did the phone cases with, we had actually started a YouTube channel, and so we just did he had the content ideas, and so I did more of the video editing. I had some GoPros that I got in high school during the whole GoPro boom, and we did started doing some videos that of some ideas he had, mostly hunting and those kind of things, guns and hunting reviews, those type of things.
So were
And
they mostly reviews, mostly
yeah,
product reviews?
it started out as reviews, and a couple hunting videos where I went along with him, and we shot some video of some hunts that we did. So it's like some snow goose hunts and stuff like that. But yeah, it was that, a couple of those, but mostly reviews of guns and stuff like that, and GoPro stuff, technology. That's kind of where it started. But that never really took off much in high school. I had a couple popular videos right before I graduated high school that got, 30,000 views, but nothing that exploded. And so that's, I just wanted to mention that we had started that as well. So going into college, I went through college, got my degree, did a few videos in college to try to keep the YouTube thing going, because I was getting some payouts every maybe 3 or 4 months. You have a threshold that you have to hit before you hit a payout, and so I wasn't getting anything major at all, but I just wanted to try to keep that going. And
were you using were you turned on the Google ads or the YouTube ads, and you were monetizing on what do they call it, the layovers? Or
yeah, I had the monetization turned on, which that was before the time where I think now they have a new requirement where before you can monetize your videos, you have to have so many minutes watched per month. They have like a threshold now that you have to meet before they give you the monetization. Back then, they hadn't had that imposed yet. So I did that through college and just did some videos here and there. I graduated, got married, and started a full-time job as a software developer. Loved what I'm doing. I'm still with the company, and I have no intentions of leaving. And then my parents decided to build a house down where I live, and I put in a smart home. I did all their low voltage networking and stuff like that because I learned how to do that in high school. And that's really where I got my interest in technology, was the networking side of things. Despite the fact that I'm a software developer, I didn't know any of that in high school. So I was doing the physical networking. So when they decided to build their house, I asked them if they would want, like whole home audio, smart light switches, that kind of stuff. And they said they did. So I went ahead and installed that. And after I did that, I kind of decided that was going to be my next video that I did on YouTube. And so I spent time and I talked about various aspects of their smart home. And from there,
with a camera, like, are you doing this with your phone? Or are you doing this with a GoPro still?
Yeah. So in the beginning of my YouTube, I was using just my GoPro. And when I started doing stuff after college, I just didn't really want to take that much time to have to do the whole GoPro thing. And I can't really see with the screen because I didn't have one of the GoPros with the screen. And so, yeah, I was just doing it on my phone. I nothing special about it. I was just recording on my phone.
Cool.
So I recorded these videos on the smart home that I did. And from there, ever since then, my channel has kind of just blown up from those videos.
And you still have this channel, right?
Yeah, I do. Yes. And I still, I don't do as much videos as I would like to because of time. And I've got almost a 2-year-old. And so he takes up a lot of time, and he's a lot of fun, but I do still actively post on there. And it's something that I am now very much invested in and would like to keep going.
I'm going to pause that, but yeah, here you are. You did this one in February 22nd. You got 170,000 views. That's actually, you got 1,900 likes. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. And that's not even one of my most viewed videos, but this is one of the most popular ones. Yes.
And you got 8,000 subscribers.
Yeah. That's the other thing. In the last 2 years, my subscriber count has pretty much quadrupled.
Oh, that's you. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, this is, it comes up. Wow, look at this. And if you're listening on the podcast, just type in whole, WHOLE, home audio into the YouTube search, and Kadin's going to come up. His channel is the KMZ1. And wow, this is 294,000 views. Wow,
Yeah,
this is awesome.
It's nothing spectacular when you think of some of the other YouTubers out there, and 8,000 subscribers. Doesn't sound like a big number, but to me, in the last couple of years, it's more than quadrupled. It's an accomplishment for me, and I have fun doing it. And I get a lot of likes, I get a lot of comments, a lot of people that I've helped out, and it's really rewarding to hear those comments.
Yeah, so let's just get a little bit technical here, and maybe you'll appreciate this for our listeners. You've got uh, title pages or a cover image, and this actually looks like decent. How are you doing? You're doing those yourself, and what are you using for that?
Yep, I do those myself, and believe it or not, I use Microsoft Paint. Free,
Really?
yep, free utility on any Windows machine, and I don't spend more than 15 or 20 minutes making the thumbnail.
Well, so I guess maybe the modern version of that might be Canva, the
Um,
app.
that is also a popular one, yes.
Uh, but it looks like it really pulls out your. See, what do you take a picture of yourself and it just pulls out your face here and puts it on there, and then you put some text on here. This looks good. You got a lot of people, man.
Those actually, those pictures of me, that's not even photoshopped. That's actually me holding my cell phone, taking a picture.
Yeah, so I mean, for the listeners out here, and this is why I love what you do. You and I talked probably too late that night, uh, but people think that you've got to have all this crazy equipment and technical stuff, but really you just got to dish out knowledgeable content, right? And make
Yeah,
it look half decent.
it really is the content. I've tried things like, for example, you can see on the right hand side, you see a giveaway video. I've tried
Okay.
other,
Yeah.
and it's only 575 views. I've tried several things with my YouTube channel, and I've kind of figured out what does and doesn't work. And to be honest with you, it's the content that the viewers are wanting. They don't really care that maybe you don't have the most professional setup as the person that has 1 million subscribers. Um, to be honest, it's the content that people have been attracted to.
Yeah, I think this is a great, and I'm grateful for you bringing this up for everybody. This is a great lesson because here you are, you got this giveaway and you got 575 views. And then I look over here and smart home 2018 overview and costs, Alexa, 12-minute video, 294,000 views. And I'm not going to click on it because it's going to come up with the voice again. But I imagine you got a ton of likes. I mean, for YouTube, it really does look like the content here.
Yeah, it really has been the content, and you can see. So starting where I have the Fiverr one, you can kind of see where I've started to step up the production and the thumbnails, and I tried to make it a little bit better quality, and the content really, I tried to make the content a whole lot better when I started realizing why people were subscribing to my channel and kind of what they were after.
So to talk to me about this, because I think we all make that I use Craigslist as the example. Like if Craig really made Craigslist super modern, it probably would hurt his business, and it's probably why he doesn't change it and works on, I lovingly say, 1990 bulletin board software.
Yeah,
Um, you know, you're getting more professional because we want as internet entrepreneurs to get more professional, but it's almost like I see that your older stuff is getting more views now. I know they're aged a little bit, but do you think this is something that we do as internet entrepreneurs, or do you think that and that we should stop trying to make it more professional because it's the non-professional stuff on YouTube and these other channels? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I do enjoy a good professionally edited video, but I think I don't want people to think that you have to have that right out of the gate. It takes time. I started this in high school, and I had, like, if you see down at the bottom, the Kansas snow goat hunt
Yeah.
2015. That was one of the videos that blew up from the very very beginning, and so we started doing more hunting stuff, and we had some other successes, but not a whole lot. But I don't want people to think that out of the gate you have to be as professional as all those other professional YouTubers. But at the end of the day, if you've got good content, but you don't have that $1,000 camera to make it better, or the editing software to put those cool transitions in, like if you've got good content, start with that and go with it. I mean, it takes time. You're not going to build up. It took me, I did this in high school. It's taken me 10 years to get 8,000 subscribers, but where I sit now, I'm happy with where it's at and what it's doing for me, and I want to keep building it.
Yeah, and it looks like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, which you're monetizing it. Really, I'm not going to play it, but probably with your affiliate links at this point. I see you got a link to your Amazon store, and you've got affiliate links here in
Yeah,
your description.
yeah. Which the affiliate stuff is actually something that I wish I would have fully understood earlier on. I actually just started doing the Amazon affiliate this year in 2019. And so, given that I've had my channel for close to 10 years and I just started doing affiliate, it's really something I wish I would have learned about sooner. But nonetheless, I'm doing it now, and I'm really enjoying that as well.
And is that are you seeing good conversion rates and decent checks every month from that?
Yes, yeah, I am.
So let's talk about, so you start on eBay, you start basically doubling your money with phone cases. You and your friend from high school start doing a few YouTube channels, you get some or YouTube videos, you see that you can make some extra money there. You go through college, you do a few, get a few hits. Then you wire your parents' home and you decide to basically just film it yourself with a camera. That thing blows up,
Yep.
and now what?
Yeah. So then I did the affiliate link stuff, and so one of the videos that you saw that blew up was the whole home audio video. So that was the first time that I had put that system in, or any whole home audio for that matter, and it worked out very well. It's one of the most affordable systems on the market, and so that's why I did a video on it, is because what I learned with some of these videos that I was doing is that people want to feel like they're having these high-end features in their house, whole home audio being one of them, and smart home stuff like that. People want that stuff in their house. So I did the video on the whole home audio, and it's one of the most affordable systems that you can buy that's out there. And at the same time, it's very, very good quality. And so I went ahead and I put that system in my house as well. I didn't build my house, but I put it in my existing house. And there was a smartphone app for Apple that could control it, but there was no Android app. And so when I did my parents' house, I kind of thought, man, I really wish there was an Android one, because I'm an Android user. My dad's an Android user. My mom's an Apple user. So we were using the Apple app to control the whole home audio system. So when I put theirs in 2018, I was like, man, I really wish there was a whole home audio app for this, but for Android. But I kind of sat on that for a while. I thought about doing it. I was, I have a full-time job doing software development, but I was early on in my career, so was focusing on that a lot. And then a year later, I kind of checked in again and looked around what was out there on the market, and still nothing for Android. And so I was like, man, there has got to be a market out there for Android users. I mean, I'm getting so many views on my video and people are buying this system. So I've got to do this Android app for this system. So I started learning. I've never done, my job is not in mobile development. Didn't know anything about it. So I spent a month just kind of reading up and figuring out how I wanted to do it. And long story short, I created the Android app for this whole home audio system.
From basically not knowing how to do mobile development
Yeah,
to
no,
doing mobile development and releasing it.
yeah, not knowing software development, nothing to do with mobile development. I created it in about 3 months and released it and started trying to promote my app and trying to get my word out there, because people already knew that this was I was getting traction on my whole home audio and people were buying this, but I needed to tell them that I had this Android app out there.
And how did you, I mean, you never released an app, you much less built one. What'd you do?
Yeah, I just looked up, how to be a Google developer, how to be registered on their Google Play console, and I did that, and it went from there. It wasn't that hard. Publishing it, really writing the app was the hard part. Publishing it is a piece of cake.
Well, how'd you get the word out to people? I mean, you just put it in the app store and hope that people came to it?
No, that too, but no, I knew I needed to kind of tell people that I was out there. So I made a YouTube video, because one of my YouTube videos that was very popular was I actually did, because people in this video were telling me or asking me like, how can I control this with my phone? And I was just replying in the comments. I was saying you can control it with an iPhone app. There's an iPhone app out there, and you have to buy the amplifiers themselves are not able to be controlled over the network. But if you buy an adapter and plug it in you can plug it into your network, and so that's how you can achieve the network ability with the amplifier. And I was just telling people in the comments like, hey, there's an iPhone app out there. Just, I was telling them the instructions. And so I actually made a video on how to control these amplifiers through the iPhone app and through the interface that you have to buy with it. And I showed how to set it up and how you can control it with the iPhone app. And I actually did that from the very beginning. And that whole year that I was kind of sitting on this idea of making the Android app, I was seeing these views on this iPhone app just go up and up, and people were loving it. They were loving that you can buy one of the most affordable whole home audio amplifier systems. And on top of that, it's so affordable. On top of that, you can control it with your phone. Like, this is awesome. And so I was seeing that video. And so kind of to get back to your original question, so I made a YouTube video just saying, hey, here's how you can control this amplifier with the Android app. And so then on top of that, that started getting some views. There's a smart home forum that has a lot of information about these amplifiers. And so I went out to that forum and I started posting some replies, because there had been some talk from years ago of people that were interested in Android app. And so I went to there, I posted on that forum. That's really about all I could do. I just posted it on the forum and did YouTube, just kind of hoped that the ball would start rolling.
And you charged from day one?
Yeah, from day one, I charged the $4.99, and I put it at that price point because that's what the iOS app was priced at. And so I didn't want to feel like I should charge more and then have somebody feel like they have an Apple iPhone or iPad and they would just rather spend less and put it on that. So I wanted to be competitively priced with that one. And since launching, I have had numerous people email me and tell me how thankful they are that they can control this with their Android and that I'm not charging enough. And I agree to some extent, but at the same time, I want to be competitively priced. I want people to use the app, and so I'm not planning on increasing the price.
And what's your share of is it like the Apple App Store where they get 30% in Google, or they get less?
Yeah, they get about 25 or 30%. So off of the $4.99, I make $3.49.
And that includes they take care of the processing fee in that as well.
That's right. Yep. So it's just a flat for every purchase of that, I get $3.49.
Well, that's actually pretty good considering that they give you that whole platform for that and everything. This looks really good. I like your logo here. It looks sharp.
Thank you.
So how long has this been? I'm looking here, and you got full reviews, all, 5 stars. Now, do you engage well, I want to go back real quick, because one thing that people always approach me and I say, hey, you got to create a community. I mean, the new hot thing is you got to create your tribe, right? But going back and rolling back a little bit older school here, like I am, it's really creating your community and it's your followers. And people say, well, I don't have software for that, or I don't have this. I'm like, well, all you need is something in the comments, and you have effectively created your community by using the comment section in YouTube and simply interacting, right? Like, it's not it's not really magic here.
Yeah, I don't have an Instagram account. I don't have a Twitter account. I've been asked several times if I have on YouTube if I have an Instagram account and post some of the pictures, and I just tell them I don't. But what I've tried to do differently that some YouTubers don't, and I know it's harder the bigger you get, but what I try to do on my YouTube channel is I try to reply to every comment that I get. At least if they're asking a question, I try to reply to every single comment that I get. And so far, I've probably say I've replied to 90% of questions that I get, and sometimes that's um, 15 a week. Sometimes it's 30 a week. Sometimes it's only a couple, but I stay pretty busy. But I try to always reply to those comments, and I try to be interacting and encourage people that they can also do some of this stuff, like this whole home audio, that they can do it as well.
Yeah, I think that's great, Kaden. And I think that, and I know it's hard when you get bigger, but if the difference between interacting in your community and being touchable and not, I think makes the world a difference. I mean, maybe if you're some celebrity out there and you've got even that, I think so, the celebrities are even seeing that you got to show, you got to be real, you got to be touchable, or now there's anybody can become a quote unquote star. And if you interact, and that was really the whole, how I was successful myself. I mean, I started a forum and I answered every single person. And I was talking to another guy today who we're going to do a podcast with coming up. And I'd been trying to get a hold of him. I had a conversation about something with his leads that he had. And he said, "I'm so sorry. I call every single customer." This is a guy who's got an email list of several 100,000 people, and he's calling every customer. And I think that's just so important. And you naturally did it. And sometimes I see these websites with these internet celebrities, if you will, and in their contact page, it says, "I'm really sorry. I'm really busy. I can't get back to you." I mean, really? You can't get back to your customers? I'm not sure. And I think that's bullcrap. Hopefully that won't get dinged by by iTunes, because I ran a website that had 175,000 visitors a month, and I had it all. I mean, some of it was automated, if you will, right? I mean, and you can do that, but at least I was interacting. And at some point in that chain, I would interact. So I think that, you can tell me if you think differently, Caden. I really think that's been one of the keys to your success in being able to go from a guy in Kansas who builds an app to having I mean, you've got a whole following.
Yeah, I am a firm believer of being customer focused. I think that you can go a long ways if you really just show that you care about the customer, and that you're willing to spend time to help them out as well. So yeah, I'm a firm believer of that.
And have you gotten ideas from interacting with them on that helps you down select what features you're going to build?
Yeah, I have. I've gotten people that have paid me to put more features in the app. So I've been lucky that people have paid me to create features for the app. I've gotten a lot of feature requests for the app, some of them that I have implemented and some of them that I haven't because the complexity. But yeah, people definitely are more than willing to reach out to me. And I've had I've had one person that's left a bad review on the app, and I replied hoping that they would see my reply in the app, because you can reply to reviews. And I just said, "Hey, I'm sorry that you're having a problem, but I haven't gotten an email from you, and so it's hard for me to help you troubleshoot it if you don't contact me." And within 15 minutes, he had emailed me and said, "Hey, sorry, I didn't think about contacting you." And he explained to me what the problem was, and we were able to get it fixed in a few days. And it was as a result of accidentally purchasing that wrong device that I was telling you have to plug into the amplifier. But we were able to get the issue resolved, and he was super happy that I was able to help out, and he changed his review, and we were able to get him up and running. So yeah, definitely being customer focused is very, very key.
And I think that's a key lesson right there, because you really had two choices. So the first choice, which I see a lot of people do, is they react, they get upset, they, I don't know, probably use some 4-letter words at people leaving bad reviews. Or the second choice, which you chose, which is just lean in, right? Like, hey, what's the problem, dude?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, internally, right? I was
of course.
that because I had up until that point, I had a perfect 5-star rating going on, and so yeah, I was. But that's the difference. So like, I could have taken my anger out inside and just said, made up a snide comment and reply back to him. But instead, I just decided to say, hey, it's hard to help you if you don't contact me. So here's my personal email address and give me a shout if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great lesson. I actually had the same thing happen. Someone was trying to download one of my cheat sheets, and they replied, and said, what would they say? Oh, you're just another scammer. The link doesn't work. And I wrote back. I was like, hey, look, newsflash, not a scammer. It's attached. Thank you so much for doing it. Oh, I know what it was, Caden. And you know this because you know a lot of my scripts is I in the sequence, I'll tell people, hey, look, I'm going to send you my personal phone number and I want to help you. So call me. And you know what the funny part is? Amazing how many people don't call me. It really is amazing how many people don't call me. But in the comment, it said, and I could have got pissed. And internally, just like you, I was sort of like, should I just give him a little jab? But he said, I don't want your phone number. I want what you promised me. So I was like, hey, here it is. But by the way, you probably should call me if you have a problem. Like, why are you so angry? And it turned out to be a positive, but it's, just an example where I think we can get, we're offended. We put all this work. You did a ton of work here, and someone leaves something bad, and you could easily say something snide, and basically that's just going to get you nowhere. Um, so that's an awesome job on your part, and you turn that into a positive. So take us. So now we've got the app. You launched this thing basically with a YouTube video and some forums, which I think people forget that, there's other sites out there in the world besides Facebook.
Yeah.
Forums are still super active. And recently, you and I were talking. You have to fill me in. There was a cable that you basically were reading and people couldn't get, and you.
Yep. Yeah. So this goes kind of back to another thing that like the theme in my some of my adventures that I've done here is that like I've thought about it and then I kind of just put it on the back burner and didn't happen, and then down the road I think about it again. I'm like, okay, well, let's just give this a try. So I had that same thought. So like I said, with these amplifiers, you need a special device and a cable to allow it to be connected to your network in order for the app to connect to it. And so I thought early on, like, when I launched the app, like maybe I could do some kind of a bundle. Maybe I could sell the app with the device and the cable that you need and do it as a package deal. And so I contacted the company that makes these devices, which early on, actually, I kind of asked them some information about because I was telling them I'm going to develop an app to use your device. And they sent me one of their devices for free. They're about $100. And so that was nice that, if I was going to be developing on their platform, that they gave me one for free. So I contacted the company again and I said, hey, like, what kind of pricing can you give me on these? Can I be a distributor? Because they only sell to distributors. They don't sell to direct to consumer. And they said, yeah, here's our pricing and yada, yada, yada. And I kind of ran the numbers a little bit, thought about my markup and credit card processing fees. And at the time when I launched the app about a year ago, I just decided that the markup wasn't really there, which after selling phone cases, it's very hard to get a markup like
Yeah, right.
a phone case. But I just decided, no, I don't know, markup's not there. I don't really have that disposable money right now because they're expensive devices. They're not a $3 phone case.
Right.
And so I just, I put that on the back burner. So fast forward to maybe like 2 months ago, and I start getting all these emails about how this device, the cable, is not in stock and they need to be able to purchase one. And so, the first couple of emails that I got, I just said, yeah, I know of another site that sells them that's not Amazon, because I try to have people go to Amazon first because it's usually the best price. And I said, yeah, I know of a couple places that are reliable that have the cable in stock. So here it is. So I do that 2 or 3 times. And then I'm kind of thinking like, well, that'd really be nice if I, had these to sell. And then 3 or 4 more come in, 4 or 5 emails more come in. And by the end of the weekend, I had turned down like probably 10 people that I don't know what the deal is with them. Like that must have just been the hot time when people were, getting these amplifiers and downloading my app. But I couldn't believe that this cable was not in stock, and it's gone out of stock before. And a few days later, it's usually back in stock, whoever's selling them on Amazon. But that really got me thinking that maybe I need to revisit this idea that I had looked at earlier, and maybe I need to see if this is going to work again. So that's what I did. Was I just recently ran the numbers and decided that I was going to start offering these cables on Amazon.
Yeah, and here they are for those who can see it on YouTube. And then if you can't, you can always you listen here on the podcast, go to Amazon, then KZ Technology. But you now I want to step back just real quick because you said this a few times, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they're doing a side hustle or trying to jump into it full time, they don't build a business plan. And what you said, I may have counted 4 times, is I ran the numbers. And I think that's a key thing. And you did that early on too. I think that if you don't run the numbers, you could react and find yourself in a bad situation. And I guess that's just something you just picked up. I mean, you're a practical guy. I mean, you're an engineer, so you're not going to do something that way. But you're always running the numbers, right? You're always getting an Excel spreadsheet and saying, can I make money with this?
Yeah, I think I must have learned that early on. My dad is an accountant, and so along with the initial eBay stuff that I started doing, I guess I would just say I naturally picked it up from that. But yeah, I'm definitely always figuring out with anything that I do, can I make money on this, and does it make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Move on to the next thing and think of something different. Like I'm always trying to think of the next thing that I might want to get myself into.
And the other thing I want to mention before we move on here is you are modeling everything. So you're modeling the cost of the product, you're modeling the processing fee. I imagine that you probably have some shipping costs, right?
Yep. So I'm doing with at least my Amazon stuff. I'm doing the fulfillment by Amazon. So I'm sending it to their centers so that way they can fulfill and ship the orders. Part of the reason why I'm doing that is, for one, I spent all my high school shipping and packing things up and using my label printer and slapping labels on the packages. And right now, I really don't want to get into that. And in hindsight, I'm so glad that I did, because most orders on Amazon are prime orders. People are looking for that prime rather than a fulfillment by the merchant. But yeah, so I'm sending these, and so I've got shipping costs to send them to Amazon, but also I ran the numbers, and the fee that I get charged by Amazon to fulfill it is actually cheaper than the fee that it would cost for me to ship it myself,
Oh,
because
wow.
Amazon gets discounted shipping rates. So the fee for them to do it for me versus my shipping cost, it made more sense for them to do it for me.
And that includes even because I haven't done this in a long time. When you and I were talking, I told you I was one of the original affiliates. They actually gave us all T-shirts, but I haven't done it in a while. They still charge some storage fee, or is there like over a certain amount of days if it's in there?
Yeah, they have long-term storage fees. If you're not moving product, then they'll hit you with long-term storage fees. And so really the takeaway there is that Amazon is not a warehouse for you to store your stuff. They're just they're a fulfillment center. They want to store it temporarily to send it on to the customer. So if you have a product that's not moving, maybe you need to pull it out of their warehouse and rethink it, or maybe you need to do fulfillment by merchant. Maybe you need to do it yourself. But yeah, they're not there to store your stuff. They're there to just temporarily keep it to move it on.
And I'm looking at your cables here. I think you can see it too. Um, so these cables aren't cheap. This $34.99 cable. You're probably making at least Keystone 50%, 50 points. I would imagine.
Yeah,
Um,
a little under that. Yeah,
but
but that's one of the things. So the cable and then the two devices, one's a Wi-Fi model and one is a hardwired Ethernet model. But yeah, the cable plugs into one of those two devices. The thing with that cable is that it has special circuitry in it, so it is proprietary. That's why it costs that much. You can buy a cable that it's basically a generic cable that doesn't have this Global Cache company's circuitry in it. And that's another thing, was when this cable went out of stock and I was telling people to go over to this other site to buy it from there, people were seeing that there was a generic cable that it looks just like it and it's used for other things. It's not a knockoff of this one. It's used for other things, but it's a cable that's $8. People were buying that cable, and then that's why I got that bad review, is because it wasn't working.
uh,
So I have replied to numerous emails that the cable is out of stock. You probably check this first. What did you buy? How much did you buy your cable for? If you paid under $15, I can guarantee it is not the right cable. It has to be this company. And I know it sucks, because it is, for most people, it's a lot of money. You're spending $120, $130 to make your whole home audio amplifier work with an app. You don't have to use the app. You can just use the keypads on the wall.
right.
But, I understand why you would want to spend $8 instead of $35. But that's just the reality of it. It has to be their cable. So I was having issues with that before I started selling these, that people were seeing the other one and buying that one. And so, yeah.
Now we're only looking at your store. I see you, like you mentioned, you're hitting the prime on all of these, so you're probably getting high up in the rankings. I don't know if you have competition or not, but I imagine you own the buy box for most of this stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, so that's something I'm definitely learning about. Like I said, I just started about a month or 2 months ago on this, so I'm definitely learning. But yeah, I do have a little bit of competition, not on the cable, but I do on the other two devices.
Oh,
And
you haven't? Yeah, we were talking about this. What's up, dude? Like, I don't see the description we talked about you need to put in here.
I know I added it, and Amazon has to approve it,
Oh,
and
all
I don't know.
right.
I
So
don't know.
how long does that take?
I don't know because I've submitted it, and I don't know. They have algorithms in place that determine whether they're going to accept it or not.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay. So this sensor to the wired Ethernet
yeah,
RJ45 connector, you did do that. So I'm glad you did that. And you actually have some great pictures. I guess you got these from
So,
them?
yeah, so with Amazon, you can, if the listing is already in their catalog, you can use their listing. So I didn't create this listing. I'm just piggybacking off of the listing that was already in their directory.
I see. But you're in the
So right,
actually you're not in the buy box yet.
yeah, so you see it says sold by KZ Technology and fulfilled by Amazon on the right-hand side underneath the buy now button.
Oh, well, what's this over here? Oh, I see. So you are in the buy box.
Yeah, so right now, so do you see where it says new one from 84.99?
Oh, right down here. Yep.
Yeah, so if you click on that, I thought there was another seller. So I guess right now,
You're it.
yeah, so right now he's not on there, but there's usually another one on this one. If you go to the Wi-Fi one, you'll probably see the other one on that one. Actually, no. Are you still looking at just mine? Yeah, so I don't think you're gonna see it. If you just type in, you're just seeing ones by me. If you go to the Amazon homepage
Oh, and
and
just okay. Let me just. Not everybody's watching, but I think what we're showing here and what we're talking about is can yeah, because this is just searching you. Can we get into how is Caden getting into the buy box, uh, and where he ranks with competitors? So here's one. You're cheaper. That's
um,
why.
go
Oh
ahead
no.
and no, go click on that one. So this one, you see how now it says sold by Quantum Network.
Yeah. So you didn't get the buy box in general yet, but
So
it also you're down here.
they do share it. So Amazon rotates the buy box to be competitive. So right now, our prices match, and the reason why I'm not going lower is because they have an auto repricer on theirs, and so it'll just match my price. So
Oh,
in order to, that's just going to race to the bottom. And so right now I just keep it matched with theirs because theirs is just going to match mine. So it's just a race down to the bottom. But Amazon will rotate the buy box to be fair, but they will also, depending on where your units are distributed across the United States, depending on who's looking at it, they may also show one by another seller if you've got a matched price based on if there's a unit at a fulfillment center closer to you. So they use different things to figure out the buy box a lot more than just the price.
right. Now, let's talk a little bit because I sort of took us down this direction, but truth is that you're not even really relying on on organic search on Amazon because you're able to link to this from your YouTube video. You're able to link from this from your app. Is that right? Can you link to this and say, and do a bundle in your app purchase?
Yeah, so I'm not doing a bundle in my app purchase, but I do have the links to this in the description. And there's a lot more uses for these devices than just my app. And so I don't do any promotion to this because people who are looking for this device, that's the other thing with Amazon is if you have a very niche device or, product, the market is not saturated with these devices, but there is still a need for these. So it's a very unique device. Somebody who's looking for this, they're specifically looking for this device. And so it is very a unique category.
Um, which I'm thinking here while I'm listening to you. I think this is an important concept because there's a lot of people out there, and I have a lot of students who are going into selling on Amazon. And while your entry point really was your app and listening to customers' needs and then making sure that the financials worked and jumping into this, basically you have a business plan. What you said is important is that even if you were going to sell another product on Amazon, you really want to spend time to get into a niche where these people are specifically searching for something and there's not a ton of competition, right?
Yeah, ideally. And I'm definitely always looking and thinking of maybe the next product that I want to sell because it is very nice to have Amazon fulfill it. And I have come up with some ideas, but when I've done the research and looked, I'm not comfortable enough. I feel like the market is too saturated and I just haven't felt comfortable enough that it's going to be worth it for me. So I know sometimes you have to just take the leap of faith and just try it out. That was, in a way, I kind of felt like that when I started this. That's why I didn't do it from the very beginning. But, also, I have a gut feelings. I kind of feel like it will work out. And sometimes I just don't have a good feeling that if the product that I'm going to sell is going to either sell good enough or there's just too much competition. So I kind of have to play it from a gut perspective and a numbers perspective and just trying to figure it out from there.
So do you think that, I mean, if we follow the path here, you went to the app, now you're selling things that enable your app, which is smart because you can be a one-stop shop instead of relying on these other people who effectively affect your sales of the app, right? Do you think you're going to progress into selling the amps and then just, I mean, I could see this, you could parlay, you have a presence with your, and clearly a following that is following you and trusts you. You could almost start to move into the whole selling of the devices,
Yeah,
right?
I've thought about figuring out where those amplifiers are made and seeing if I can't somehow get into that. Uh, Doing that slightly worries me because I am just a one man shop. I'm just doing this as a side hustle, like you said. I still work my job from 8 to 5, and I love my job. I love doing what I do, and I love developing software. But what I learned from my app, and it really surprised me, was how much customer service or customer support you have to put into it. So my app, it's $4.99. I figured, here's the instructions in the description. Here's how you do it. you just buy this device, you connect it up. Surely if you've installed the amp, you know how to configure this device. And that's not really the case. I get a decent amount, a lot more than I would have thought of support requests of people asking help, or why is it not quite working right. And that really surprised me. And so getting into selling the amplifiers, which is something I still would consider, it kind of worries me that I would get myself in over my head where I would have way too many support requests or returns, which are something that for somebody that sells products, returns are going to happen, but you hope that you don't have a huge influx of returns. And so, yeah, it's something that I thought of, but it's something that I also need to outweigh and make sure that I'm still devoting my time to my 8 to 5 job, and at the same time, my family, and also making sure that I can still support my customers and still try to be customer focused.
Yeah. Support this guy named Brandon who always screwing up the website. Well, I think that's important. And what, you're really cognizant. And I think that's just a good sense to have, because if you had jumped into it right away and then you have returns and all this customer support, and I think people forget, I think it's a really great point, customer support, it's just not going to be magic. Now, what I did, I don't know about you, I want to hear, is when I was collecting and running the online site and had all these thousands of customers, because we had membership and we also sold products. I created answers. I just hacked it. So in my email signatures, I made all the answers. And every time I got one that I saw more than, 2 or 3 times, I'm retyping this crazy answer.
Yeah.
I hacked the signature. They would come in and I'd pull down the signature. A few times I created some YouTube videos that weren't searchable, but if you had the link, and I would just post them there. Are you leveraging those strategies, or how are you handling it?
Yeah, so I had done that video on before the Android app on the iOS app, and I had
Right.
done a video on how to configure it. So that kind of helped me cover my basis on people that needed help configuring those little devices. So I would redirect people to watch that video on how to set it up. And then I do have a website for my Android app. I do have a website, and on there I've got the frequently asked questions that I get the most. And so when I do get, like you said, I get a lot of redundant questions. Probably 80% of them are redundant questions. And so I would, say, hey, and I would make it more personal. I wouldn't just say, go read this first and tell me if you still have problems. I would make it more personable and then just say, hey, please, I think your answer is right here on my website. Can you go to this frequently asked questions about on the application's website? And specifically, I would reference the question that I knew was on there. Specifically reference this section. I think this may be what you're looking for, and please let me know if you have more questions. So yeah, I have a website with the frequently asked questions, and I kind of try to funnel people into there to minimize some of the time that I have to spend on support.
So let's talk about finances. Yeah, I don't want you to be specific, but these side hustles that you've got going, your YouTube videos probably still throw off cash because they're working for you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few $1,000s a month, right?
Yeah, maybe not quite a few thousand, but probably probably approaching, maybe the $1,000 mark. When you have, a couple hundred here and a couple hundred there, and Amazon generating a couple hundred here, it all adds up. I don't have one thing that I'm doing that is just like superseding everything else to make the others not worth it. They're all really weighing about the same, but when you add 4 or 5 of those together, it makes it worth it. And that's what I love about the passive income. That's what's attractive about it. And I've done a lot of reading articles on passive income, and it's not something that came overnight by any means. It's
Yeah.
not a get quick.
Yeah, not a get rich quick. And I just want to comment on the passive income, because there's so much, I don't even know what to call it, tomfoolery talk around passive income. And passive income, my definition is, people say, well, you just do it and it just throws off cash while you travel the world. Well, I think passive income is setting up a pipeline of something that you don't have to be there for it to work for you, right? But it
Yep.
doesn't mean that you don't have to work.
Yeah, that's the thing. It works while you're sleeping, but you're still working to keep that going.
Right. And I think that there's too many, I don't even know what to call them, fake news, right? Whatever you want to call it out there that, hey, you just build it and it just prints money. I mean, you got to tune it, on your Amazon. There's algorithms are changing all the time. You got to do the SEO. You got to, there's just a lot of tweaks and there's customer service. You can't, you, you can automate some of it. You get a virtual assistant to do that. Um, and what we
Yeah,
didn't talk about tonight is you do have a consulting business where you are an outsourced CTO. I call you more of a CTO because you're an engineer. You're not just a webmaster that's throwing off cash. So that probably adds up, for you there too. But we'll talk. We're going to have you back if you're willing to do it one night and talk about that, because that's really a whole other thing that doesn't require money, it just requires your expertise and a little bit of ads out there, and then probably word of mouth.
yeah,
I'm
mostly.
tight-lipped about that because I don't want you doing 100 things as much as I want you to be successful.
Yeah, mostly word of mouth has found that. But yeah, when I was on that journey of trying to find passive income, which the consulting stuff isn't really passive because you're getting paid to do the work. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up finding you online was through some of those other channels where I was trying to find more website work and stuff like that to do just on the side and in the evening times. So
Yeah, so this has been awesome, by the way, Caden. Thank you so much for sharing all this. You shared some great tips and um, really showing how the journey happens. And I tell people that people come. You and I talked about it a little bit. That's why I believe everything happens for a reason out there. And you and I found each other. It's sort of weird that journey that you've been on is sort of where I started. Just I'm a little older and went through that. The thing that I tell people though is just get started on the internet. Like just go sell on eBay or just I don't know, review this chapstick on YouTube and put an affiliate link, right? And do that with your phone. And then you're going to learn so much. And your story is awesome because that's really what happened, right?
yeah, it is. Yeah, and I did things like with the YouTube and definitely with eBay selling things. I tried selling things other than phone cases that didn't work out. So I did things where I didn't make money and I bought product and couldn't sell it and lost money there. But yeah, I mean I'm gonna do things and I'm still gonna do things that probably won't be worth it and I'm gonna make mistakes. But at the end of the day, I've made more successes than I have mistakes, and my mind is always churning, thinking about that next thing that I might be able to do or put out there, or whether it's an app or a website or whatever it may be. My mind is always trying to think of that next thing to put in the pipeline to maybe try to generate another $100 a month. I'm not even trying to hit a home run. I'm just trying to that next thing in the pipeline that might generate a little bit more and a little bit more. That's just what I'm always trying to think about.
So with that, you've got a newborn at home, you're married, you got a full-time job, you come home, you got these side hustles. What does a day look like for you?
Yeah, it's very busy. I get up and just go straight to work. I am not a morning person, but I get up, I go to work. I work 8 to 5. Come home for lunch so I can have an hour off from work, and come home, eat lunch, go back to work, finish at 5. Get home, eat dinner, spend time with my wife and my son, play with them. When my son goes to bed, then I usually make sure I check my emails and throughout the
What
day.
what time is that?
About when he goes to bed at 8:30, I'm
Right.
checking my emails, and all throughout the day, on lunch when I go to the bathroom, I'm checking my emails. I'm replying to support questions for people that I help support their website for. I'm replying to emails. When my wife goes to bed, because she likes to go to bed early, I hop on my computer. I do some website work. I reply to more emails. I'm an active member in our HOA, so I have to deal with homeowners association emails. I'm really just doing a ton of emails and website work in the evenings, and usually stay up till usually 11 or 12 at night, and then repeat it again. So I'm
Yeah.
usually
So, uh, everybody listening to the podcast knows that I don't edit these podcasts. So I actually had to let my dog out. I missed, what time do you get up in the morning?
I'm not a morning person, so I get up at 7:20 in the morning and I get to work by 8.
So you're 7:20. So you're still, you go to bed at 11 or 12. You're still getting 7 hours. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
like you're dragging your rear around.
no, no. I mean, sometimes some days out of the week, I stay up till 12 or 1, and I'm pretty tired the next morning. But for the most part, no, I'm getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night still, and I'm working a lot, but I'm still feeling rested, and
But you love this stuff, right? I mean, it just feeds you, right? You're sitting there getting these emails during the day while you're working your day job, you're making more money.
yeah, pretty much. And I still try to make sure that I'm devoting a lot of time to my job. I don't want to get fired from my job. I love my job. And so I'm still devoting 100% of my time during the day to my normal job. But yeah, I'm coming home and checking in on things and making sure that my side stuff is all good.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because everybody thinks it's magic and it's not. You're going to work a few late nights, but I like to hear that you're at least getting 7 hours, and spending time with the family and setting time aside, because, I think people forget that whether we're doing a side hustle or we're doing a startup or just running a small business, forget this, that we've got partners in this.
Yeah,
It's a team, and you can't just, I mean, there are times, and I'm sure you've done this, where you're absolutely focused and you're going to probably neglect some other things because it's just hard to keep the balance, but you got to bring that balance back. And whether that's, I don't know, take a day off, take a weekend off, take your wife out, significant other out, and spend that time. Otherwise, I just ask, like, why are you together with someone at that point? So, I think you've got to want to do that. And I also tell people, sometimes, even when we go through these I call them absolute focus times, like, just hug your significant other and probably make a big difference. Not probably. I know it makes a big difference. I get to say that after, I think, 23 years being together. So, uh,
yeah,
I know a few hacks that work.
yeah. You definitely can't be so focused on the money aspect or whatever you're trying to do. I mean, yeah, you want to be focused on it, especially if that's the only thing you're doing. Fortunately for me, it was a side thing and it's not the only thing I'm doing, but you still want to have time for the other people in your life. You don't want to become so focused on it that it starts to ruin, relationships and family and friends.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Now, for our listeners, Kadin, before we got on live tonight, he agreed to share a bunch of tips, about how to be successful on Amazon. He's still learning, and some on eBay. But we'll put that in a cheat sheet that people can download. But to end here, what would be 3 of your HPT's, high percentage tips, that you would give someone who's looking to do a side hustle? And that could be balance, where to look. What would be 3 tips that you would offer?
Putting me on the spot here. Yeah, well, so my first tip would probably just be to run the numbers and make sure that it makes sense.
I love that.
Too many people, I think, try to force it to work. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not, by jumping into it, it's not going to just magically make sense. So I think you need to first make sure that the numbers make sense.
So build a business plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't pay Kadin to say that.
No, that's why I'm struggling to come up with 2.
Well, how about what would you give, like, to someone who's out there, they want to do something online, where would you point them towards?
Honestly, just Google. I mean, do your that's okay. That's what I would say. Number two is do your research. There's so many forums out there, whether it's eBay or Amazon or some other marketplace. You know, maybe you're not even trying to sell a product. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you're trying to develop a product. It doesn't even matter what you're trying to do, but like the internet is just so powerful. That's got everything you need at your fingertips. You're gonna come across those forums and whatever it may be. Like maybe if you are trying to sell, like just online, there's so many forums that if you have no idea where to start, like 2 months ago, I didn't even know where to start with Amazon, and now I'm selling on Amazon Prime items. Like all you have to do is just do some research, spend a couple hours, and like before no time, you're going to become a master at what you're trying to do. So use the internet to your advantage.
And then let's see, what would be what's your if you had like one tool to recommend to somebody to do what you do, is it should you have a laptop uh, versus an iPad because you can run programs?
I think it just depends on what you're trying to get into. I mean, if you're trying to get into the video editing, yeah, you definitely need, a Mac or a laptop. I'm a Windows user. I don't have a Mac, but yeah, you're definitely going to need something that's going to help you get the job done. If you're just trying to, do an app, or yeah, I mean, if you're trying to do an app, you need some kind of development software. But if you're trying to list things online, you necessarily don't have to have the best laptop. So I mean, just figuring out what technology you need. I don't have the best stuff. I mean, the laptop I'm on is one that I've had since college. I mean, it's still hanging in there. You don't have to have the best stuff. And like even with my YouTube videos, I'm using a 3-year-old phone. The camera on my phone. You
Yeah,
don't
they look good.
you don't have to have the best stuff, and I certainly don't. So if you don't have the most money, you don't have the best thing. Like I don't think that matters.
Fair enough. But I get at a minimum, you probably need, I guess, a desktop and some sort of mobile device, right? And but those two things,
Yeah, you need a laptop or something to get on the internet. You need the internet, and most everybody has a phone. So I would say 99% of people already have the necessities they would need to try to get into something that they're looking for.
yeah, you're in business,
Yeah,
making money. Well, listen, thank you so much. I know it's late. It's actually, I think you're 2 hours. Are you 2 hours ahead of me?
yeah. It's 10:45 right now.
10:45. Proof that, and this is, Kadin said, let's do it in the evening. So I'm really grateful for you taking the time to share all of this. We will do a follow up with you maybe in a few months and talk about your consulting business because you've done a great job with that. I know you've automated some of that stuff too, as it relates to maintaining websites and things like that. So I want to cover that. But
Okay.
thank you so much for being on tonight, and you will see me on Slack tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate you wanting to interview me and take the time to listen to my story. I'm just a humble guy that, you know, I don't feel like I did anything too special, but I appreciate you interviewing me and
Yeah,
sharing.
you've done a remarkable job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.